Hey, dudes, we're trying to do some artist shit over here. Hey, I'm Matt.
And I'm John.
We're Larva Labs, and welcome to the Node and the opening show 10,000, which is all about CryptoPunks. The first thing you see when you come into the space is these huge screens, which are representing the 5 types of CryptoPunks. So ape, male, female, zombie, and alien. And these will slowly cycle through some options, slowly throughout the night, change to a different punk in these various types. If we want to come over here, we can take a look at the code that runs it all.
So this is the CryptoPunks smart contract. It's just 246 lines of code. And we wanted to really feature this in the show because this is sort of so fundamental to CryptoPunks. You know, it has its own marketplace that is decentralized and running, and this shows all the code and talks about it a little bit. And it also shows kind of almost like a debug trace of what the latest transaction to have run is. And so as transactions come in, this sort of switches around and shows you what's currently happening on the network.
I think seeing like all the punks in one space and a physical space designed to show them really is like, we finally have like expressed what we're interested in with CryptoPunks. This shows how it's not just the imagery, it's the market, it's the interactivity with all the people, it's the history that builds up with each punk. And so each area is sort of designed to show a little bit of each, sort of direction and dimension of that. And I think we kind of got there.
So yeah, in this first room that we're in is mostly about kind of the marketplace and the transactions, the community interaction. And then as we kind of delve deeper into the space, you'll see we kind of start dialing into specific traits and focusing on one punk at a time, and then kind of culminating in showing all 10,000 in one view, which is really kind of cool to see.
These 4 things here are all receipt printers, and they print receipts for each type of event. So if a punk is sold, this will print a receipt, a bid, offered for sale, or a transfer. And people can just come up and take these things. You can see they have a little ASCII picture of the punk on there, and it'll have like time and date and value and all that kind of thing. So people can just pull these and keep them if they want. And it also serves as like a pretty interesting and fun indication that something's about to happen, because the first thing you'll hear a lot of the time is the sound of a receipt being printed, and then you'll start looking around and wonder what's coming next, This is our infinite ETH node, and this represents the network underlying all of this, Ethereum. And what this cube is showing us is the blocks on the network. So every time it changes like that, it's illustrating the contents of the last block that were mined on Ethereum.
A brighter line means like a higher gas price transaction, darker means lower, and then a larger block means there was a lot of computation versus a little. And then every once in a while, probably won't happen just this very moment, you'll see a pink line in there, and then that means that it was an interaction with the CryptoPunks contract.
So the timeline sort of shows everything that's happening in the market today. So you can see there's been some punks offered for sale, and there's actually been a sale about an hour ago. And what happens when there's a big event like a sale is the whole space activates. The screen goes big and blue, and the lights change, and you'll hear a receipt printer, and you'll see it on the cube, and so on. It's really different experiencing that in a physical space because you're also experiencing with a bunch of people, and these things happen all the time, but they're kind of invisible if you're not looking at the website.
And I think maybe the closest people have come to experiencing that together is in the Discord, and now there's a way to sort of experience the same kind of effect in a physical space, side by side with each other and everything.
So speaking of the Discord, these messages along the bottom here are special messages from the Discord that get upvoted. So, if people in the Discord like the message, they can basically get it on the screen here. So punks are primarily an online identity, and people know and have become friends with each other via that identity. And so it's interesting to see them in a room together and realizing that, oh, I know you, but I don't know what you look like physically, but I know you're punk. And then the last part of this area, which is really all about what's happening on the market, are these columns which mirror and echo the receipt printers. There's one for each color again. So that's transfers, offers for sale, bids, and punks sold. And these punks you're seeing scrolling by have had one of these operations recently. One of these transactions has occurred recently. So let's walk from the front Exhibition 1 space to the node, as we call it.
We have these 2 circular screens that are just cycling through one CryptoPunk at a time, but once every 4 seconds, and they just go from kind of the nearest, they just change one trade at a time to just cycle through all 10,000 punks. And if you wanted to sit here and watch them all, then you're in for 11 hours. But then on the ceiling, we've actually kind of just laid out the color palette for each CryptoPunk as it cycles through. So it's just a way to really kind of experience one CryptoPunk at a time and just sort of relax a little before returning to the more dynamic, larger, more open spaces. For all the kind of major spots, we have this little custom experience. I'll let you do it for the punk holders.
I believe we have the OpenSea CryptoPunk on this card. So when you insert this, you'll see this whole space transforms and becomes about your punk.
So there's the OpenSea punk, and then if we watch that punk, we kind of break it out into a 3D sort of view. It's really kind of analyze sort of the attributes at a fine level, sort of see the layering of them. So it's just, so this is just a way to really focus and feature your CryptoPunk as part of the exhibition. Having the CryptoPunks community be here and kind of celebrate this together, because it really is, it's not ours, it's all of ours, it's the whole community. They shaped and built this, as much as we did, and because of the sort of the decentralized nature of this, we always sort of thought like we just sort of built the boat and pushed it away from shore, but it sailed because of the whole community, and so we really want them to feel like this is their exhibition, that we all made this together, because it never would have happened, without them.
So what we hope people will experience for the show is a little different depending on what you bring to it. If this is your first experience with punks, then we just want to leave you with one thing maybe, that it's like not just about the imagery, for example, that it's a technical thing and it has a whole interactivity thing attached to it, a market and all that. So for this room, what we wanted to show, which we haven't really been able to show properly before, is all the punks at a scale that you can understand the full set. When you're looking on your computer, you can only see a certain amount of it, or you have to zoom out so much that you can't really make them out. But in this room, the entire wall is the full set. So this was really our opportunity to kind of show you the variety at scale. And how we've done that is with this console here, which has a button for every type, trait, and number of traits. And it allows you basically to explore the set and see that 10,000 isn't maybe as big a number as you thought it was, that you get down to very few punks quickly. So for example, I'll just press these are all the female punks, and those get highlighted. And what happens here is I can combine this with other buttons and see how many of them have blonde hair. And that starts to get down to it pretty quickly, And you can hold down as many buttons as, you have fingers, I guess, but, and you end up finding out there's less of that combination than I expected, or people can find their own punk by pressing the buttons for the features that they have and so on.
Yeah, and often someone will kind of dial in their punk's traits and realize that, I have the only CryptoPunk that has that set of traits, And it's a way to really in a tactile way, really kind of explore through the set and experience all those dynamics.
All right, then let's walk over to the trait wall here, which is everything you can have on a CryptoPunk sort of represented on a wall in kind of an interesting new, pretty beautiful way, really. They're all a little bit 3D, and you can get a sense of how this huge variety was produced out of relatively few component parts.
And there's 87 of them, and then we also just included as the 88th, just no trait whatsoever, since that's kind of almost a trait unto itself. And so, from these 87 combinations comes the 10,000 set.
It's worth saying that it's really kind of amazing to be in a space like this that's been designed for this show, and really just the opportunity to be able to show this work exactly how we wanted to, which is quite unusual and a pretty rare opportunity most times. And you would be part of a group show or have a few things you would be allowed to do, but a space of this size really designed to show all this is a really special opportunity, and we're so happy with how it came out.
When we met with the Node team last year to discuss this, we sort of had this wish list, and we said, maybe if we can get a couple things, from our wish list of what would be the perfect CryptoPunks show, that would be amazing. And then here we are with the entire wish list fulfilled.
The whole list.
I don't have anything else, man.
We got a gumball machine.
Yeah, we even got a gumball machine. It's everything we could have hoped for, and we really hope that it's really special for CryptoPunks holders, for anyone who's into digital art, and then to the larger community. We're just so proud and happy with how everything's turned out.